Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. My name is Kevin. Well, you saw last week that I got started on our outdoor shower. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link to it up here. But we built this platform last week to have the water tank on. It's a garbage can that will hold about 35 gallons of water, and that will be our water supply for the outdoor shower. So today is the day that I actually need to start building the enclosure for the shower itself. I've gone back into our woods and I've collected about 50 or so decent size flat sandstone rocks that we can put as the floor of the shower. The shower itself is going to be 7 feet by 7 feet, so a fairly decent size. I can tell you guys, I'm glad I didn't make it any bigger and didn't need any more rocks, because between ticks and chiggers and all the wild blackberries that are growing right now, I am pretty much an itch from here down. My body is tore up. So, but I got all the rocks, I think. I kind of laid them out roughly to see, and I think I've got enough. And I also have my cedar poles that we're going to be building the enclosure out of, and then we're going to be using some old metal from our barn, some kind of rusty metal to give it that rustic look. And then I just have a few odds and ends as far as the PVC fittings that I think are going to work. So I'm hoping to get this all done today, although it's hot. It's supposed to be about 95, I think, and it's humid, and the heat index is supposed to be over 100. So we'll see. I'm hoping I can spend most of the day working on this and just take some small breaks in the shade. So no time to waste. I'm gonna get started. Now I will tell you, I did a little bit of legwork beforehand. Like I said, I gathered the rocks, I gathered the poles, and I've also already dug the holes for the poles to go in. I didn't figure you guys needed to watch me dig holes. So we had a kind of a cooler day the other day. I got out here and dug the holes because even though I have an auger on my tractor, it digs pretty big holes, and I didn't want holes that big for these small poles that we're going to be using. So I dug these by hand, which you know, sounds like a good idea before you start. After you do one hole, you start to think, gee, maybe a bigger hole wouldn't be that bad, and by the time you get done with the last hole, you realize how dumb you are. So but I got them all done, and it took a while, but they're in now, and so we'll be able to get started. So I'm gonna get going. Alright, so I got the pole set in place. Now, one thing I didn't mention is that the ground here where we're putting the shower is actually really sandy. So I'm not going to use the dirt that I've dug out of the holes to put the poles in. I'm going to actually use, I went down with my tractor and got some from another part of the property where it's more clay type soil. And I'm going to use that to put the poles in, because I'm not going to cement these poles. I'm just going to put them in and pack the earth around them real good. So I didn't want to use sand for that, or I think they'll come loose. So that's what I'm going to do now. Whew, it's getting warm. Alright, I've got all 5 poles in. They seem to have turned out pretty sturdy. Plenty sturdy for what we're doing here. They're not, you know, going to be holding a whole lot of weight or anything like that. So my next step is to go eat lunch. After that, I'm going to come back out. I'm going to try to level this ground a little bit. I got some buckets of sand. I'm also going to use some of this extra dirt that I dug out and things, and try to level this, and then we'll start setting the rocks for the floor. Then we'll do the metal and finish up the actual shower part, and we'll be ready. So we got a lot of work to do, but I think we're gonna get her done today. At least that's my plan. All right, so what I've decided to do is use some smaller cedar logs here to kind of frame around the bottom. This will help hold the sand and rocks in that I'm going to use for the floor, and it'll also help just kind of, you know, stabilize the poles if they would start to loosen up over time. Right now they're nice and solid, but you just never know. And I think it'll look kind of nice. It'll give it kind of a finished look down at the bottom. So extra step that I hadn't thought about doing before, but I had these extra logs and I figured why not. So that's what I'm gonna get working on now. Alright, I've got the pieces of cedar wood along the bottom. Now I'm going to start kind of filling in with sand, and then I'll start bringing in the actual rocks. So one step closer. I forgot to tell you, you may be wondering why suddenly I'm wearing different clothes. Well, I guess my overalls were getting old, because let's just say I bent down to do some work on those logs, and suddenly there was a bigger breeze outside, so had to go in and change. Alright, I've got all the stones down. I think they fit in pretty well. I think I need a little more sand to put in between them just to fill in the gaps. Originally I was going to use pea gravel in between them, but I think for now I'm just going to fill in with sand and kind of let that all settle, and then maybe do pea gravel later on, but sand I can get for free. So I think I'm going to go get a couple more buckets of sand and we'll pour that on and sweep it in, and then we'll get started on the metal. There we go, all put in with the sand. I've got some extra sand, so over time when this settles I'll be able to add a little more. I think as we use it, you know, it'll kind of fill in more, and then like I said, once everything is good and settled and kind of put in place, then down the road I may fill in with pea gravel as well, but we'll see. But I kind of like the way that it looks. I know some of you out there are going to say, you know, I should have made all the stones exactly the same height and all of that. They're actually not as bad as they probably look. I went and watched some of the footage, and they kind of look worse than they really are. They're not bad. I tried to put, you know, the similar size heights in the same spot, so like where you'll stand to mostly shower is one height, and you know, where you'll kind of stand to dry off is another height, and so I think it'll be okay. But hey, that's the fun of just making things without a real plan. You can do whatever you want, and if you change your mind later on, you can change it again. Well, I had planned on finishing the shower, but God had other plans. He's given us a different kind of shower. So we'll see how long it lasts. I might be able to get out work a little more on it today, but I don't know. It's coming down pretty good. Well, I ended up getting rained out yesterday and didn't get finished as planned. So I need to finish this up today because I really don't want to spend another whole day on it. So I did a few things off camera that I'm going to show you right now. I've made a few changes to things that I showed you in the first video, and I think really improvements for the best. So the first thing that I did is I eliminated the faucet altogether. One of our subscribers named Harvey actually left a comment telling me about another type of fitting that would work that I could get at our local agri supply store. So I went and I picked up one of those, and I have to say it works way better than the way I was doing it with the PVC pipe. and the gasket material. So seems to be a much better seal. The other way wasn't leaking, but I noticed that when I moved things around much, it started to leak a little bit, and I'm afraid over time it was going to start to leak. So this is way better, so thank you for that tip. The next thing that I did is on Amazon for $5 I found a little shutoff valve that screws right onto the shower head. So I picked that up. I got that on Prime. Again, for just $5, which was cheaper than even just a ball valve that I could get from our hardware store, and it looks a lot nicer and actually works really nice. So I put that on as well. And then the last thing is I just added a 2x4 underneath the pipe to add some stability, so that when you reach up and you're turning it on and off, you know, you're not pulling on the pipe. And then I added the a hose coming down so we can fill it from the ground. So those are the things that I've done off camera. So the last thing that I really have to do today is to put this final pieces of metal on here, and then we'll pretty much be done. You can see, I mean, let me go stand under it and you can see I like the height of it. The height is perfect, I think. Now we can just turn it on and off from here. And I'm just real happy with the way that it works. So I'm going to get these last couple pieces of metal on here, and then I'll show you pretty much how it looks all finished up. Alright, it's all finished. I'm super happy with the way that it turned out. Let me show you kind of all the way around it now, the final finished shower. Again, I made over here a hose that comes down from the garbage can. It's got one of these quick connect ends on it so that we can just you know, hook the hose on and fill it up from down here, so I no longer have to climb up a ladder to climb it to fill it up. And then let's go over here. This is where the doorway is. So for the door, I just put a, you know, a branch across here, and then a shower curtain. I might end up doing something better down the road, but for now this will work just fine. And then inside, again, I bought this valve on Amazon that allows me now just to turn it on and off from right here. And it's not as much pressure as you'd get, you know, like in a house, but it's definitely enough to rinse off and cool down. And so the total project cost me around $75. I had the garbage can already, but if I would have had to buy that, it would be about $15. I've got about $5 or $10 in different PVC fittings and things. A shower head like this is about $5. It's the cheapest one you can buy, but it works just fine. $5 for the little thing right here on Amazon. And really, I mean, the rest, I mean, the shower curtain and things like that, but it's really a cheap project. Oh, the wood for the tower. The wood for the tower, those landscape logs they have at Walmart right now for $4 a piece. So that's about $35 in those. So about $75 total for the entire project. And a lot of elbow grease and a lot of chigger bites and ticks to go get all these rocks. But all in all, it'll be worth it. Hey, if this is your first time on our homestead, I hope that you will hit that subscribe button before you guys leave. If you're one of our traditionalists, we sure do appreciate you guys. Come back 5 days a week for new videos. Don't forget to share this on all your social media. And until next time, thanks for stopping by. Take care, and God bless.